I tell you what kind of a day yesterday was. We're on our way to baseball. It is 7-something in the morning. My first taste of early morning sports for my son. I can't wait to see him play baseball today. Unfortunately, it's supposed to rain all day after his first game. He was supposed to have 3 games, and it looks like it's going to pour rain after his first. And it's kids baseball. I think your first game better be your best one, bud. Because I think that's the only one you're going to get in. So, I think the playoffs are going to be over around 11 o'clock in the morning anyway, buddy. It's supposed to rain like pretty hard. Anyway, it was a great day yesterday. Man, I was so tired all day, just running and running and running. But got to Mohawk. Got to see some friends I hadn't seen in like 2 years because my buddy Chris lives on the East Coast and East Coast of Canada. And because of COVID, we just haven't connected in almost 2 years. So it was great to get home, great to see everybody. You know, it was so cool. I was walking through the grandstand and you know, every second or third person would come up and say, "Are you Anthony?" You know, I'm now Anthony, James's brother. So everybody come up and say, "Are you Anthony?" They know I'm Anthony because I look like James, I look like Anthony, and James is on the track and Mark is in the paddock. So it was pretty cool though. What was so neat, I was walking through the crowd last night, and one of our clients, a lady, had said to me, "Anthony." I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, I knew you were home." And she goes, "I own a piece of Tioga Sunshine. You know, she raced great this week. You know, you guys are doing a great job with her." Whatever. And right behind her was a gentleman. He goes, "Hey, Anthony, how you doing? I own a piece of Tioga Sunshine." He must not have heard the lady and I speaking. And she heard him say Tioga Sunshine. She turned around, she goes, "I own a piece of Tioga Sunshine." So there was 2 partners in a horse, never met each other, sitting 3 feet apart, and had no dealings with one another before. It was the coolest thing ever. So my buddy comes up and he goes, "That must happen all the time." And I said, "Yeah, it's so weird, but it's so cool to have something like that happen." So that's how my night started. I watched my brother win an overnight race. He was second out of the 10 hole with a long shot. You know, James is just having such a good year. Shh, baby, don't be silly. James just continues to roll. Yeah, honey. What's that? I can't hear you with that silly sucky. The park. She's really wanting to go to the park. I'm gonna have to take her to the park as soon as we get there. Is it supposed to rain? Again, James is just having. Yeah, the rain's at the park, but not until after we play. After we play, it's gonna rain. So James just continues to have a tremendous year. I didn't really, you know, I follow, but I just see what all of you see, right? I don't see the inner workings of Mohawk very much anymore. I got to talk to a lot of the drivers, speak to Trevor Henry after and congratulate him, and we'll get to that in a minute. I looked at the program. James is way ahead in wins. You know, he's going to win the driver's title, I believe. I don't want to jinx him, but at the same time, at the year he's having, he's O'Brien bound, and you know, just so proud of him. And then last night I got to watch Mark win with King of the North. He was so distraught. You know, 2 weeks ago he was so pumped to come drive Lawless Shadow in the North American Cup, and then the Jug is where, you know, Mark loves the Jug. He won it with Mr. Feelgood, but keep in mind we're hometown kids, and you know, small town kids, and to win a race like that in a small town, I'm telling you, if you haven't been to Ohio, and not to take anything away from any other jurisdiction, but if you haven't been to Ohio for a race like the Little Brown Jug, you don't know what I'm talking about. And it's just such a great feeling for him. So it came out last night that, or no, I guess it came out a couple of days ago. I found out last night Lawless Shadow actually fractured his collarbone, and that is the timeline of what went on with Lawless Shadow is exactly what took place with, and not that, you know, we're talking about 2 different animals, but no free lunch, will to win Hanover. I don't know the extent of the fracture, but thinking in my mind, here's a horse that has looked incredible, has been a good horse. I have to believe he's headed to the breeding shed. Now here's a horse that beat everybody in impressive fashion. The Meadowlands Pace. Now he was second place first, but he raced great. Then the race he won at the Poconos was incredible. Coming back from a coffin bone injury after racing against those horses, and I assume he broke it in competition. I can't imagine that he just broke it jogging around, but he may have, I don't know. But to come back from a coffin bone fracture, to again get to that level after you've been there, I don't know what the prognosis is for that. Maybe it's the exact same injury in the exact same place as Will to Win, no free lunch. I don't know. The good news is Ian Moore that owns him is an incredible vet, so he'll make the decision on Lawless Shadow. He may be heading to the breeding shed. He may not. I don't know, but he's been. I think when the year started, maybe I didn't give him the credence that he deserved. I've seen him watch the race in the Ontario Sire Stakes. It wasn't until I saw him tackle some of the horses in Ohio. I'm like, geez, this horse got some pop to him. And then to win the Meadowlands Pace the way he did, and then to win in the Poconos those are big miles. They stick out in my mind. So a horse like him, I haven't really looked at his pedigree, but at the same time, I think good horses are good horses. And if he heads to the breeding shed or makes it back to the races, I don't know. But obviously a devastating loss for the owners of Lawless Shadow. My father knows them well too, so I mean, feel bad for them. And obviously Mark's drive in the North American Cup and the Little Brown Jug, they just don't hand those out. So he was devastated. But King of the North looked some good last night. I said to somebody, coming down the lane, the first time I ever saw King of the North live was last night. He looks just like 3 Point Blue Chip. He looks just like Earl Wallner. Now that's not to say that Earl Wallner's the same, but he looks like our horse. It was so uncanny to see him trot the exact same way. Mark was so happy with him. The way he drove him was great. He had luck. And a real cool storyline for those of you out there that are our clients. The horse that finished second, duly resolved, is the exact same bloodline. And I looked at the mare. I'm like, Motown Muscle. I know this mare. Okay, sweetheart. The exact same bloodline as Muscle Chrome. Now, Muscle Chrome was an incredibly slow horse that we had. Hey, stop being cranky. Incredibly slow horse, but a pretty horse. And always when you drove her, she felt like she was trying hard. Just God didn't gift her with a lot of talent. But the bloodline of Muscle Chrome is the exact same as Duly Resolved that finished second at King of the North last night. So that was cool. So now we head into, before any of that happened, we're always talking about racing the horses where they need to be to win. I don't know what Sweet Ambitions raced for yesterday. She seems to really like Sarnia. I think did you say there's one more card? So one more card, she'll likely be there. And then Sarnia's closed for the year. So Sweet Ambitions raced good and left hard, 28 flat, moved her out of the 2-hole down the backstretch. Not what I would call a high percentage maneuver for Sweet Ambitions, but coming out of the turn, man, she raced good. She just seems to love that track. So, for Cindy and Anthony Hahn drove her, a great job by them. I was happy. Off to a running start, 1 for 1. I knew we had Globetrotting in later. I talked to Ronnie. We're going to race her from off the base. And I could see what happened. We were lucky. Brian Sears drove her. Year in and year out, Brian Sears has dialed back his drives and really taken his own path through life. And it's so cool because for the people in the industry, in the know, Brian Sears is arguably the best driver ever. I know John Campbell, Bill O'Donnell, those were guys from my generation, and they are and always will be one of the best people to ever drive a horse. Brian Sears is in that very, very distinct club. He is an incredibly gifted reinsman. He won out of the 8-hole at Yonkers like he was the favorite and couldn't lose. Just to watch the man drive a horse is the way he approaches races. It's almost like he has everything compartmentalized. Okay, I do the 8-hole at Yonkers. This is what I have to do to win. Okay, I'm going to win that one. This is what I have to do win at the Meadowlands to win race. It's really something to watch the man drive. He is an incredibly gifted reinsman, and we were lucky to have him last night. You know, he just floated out of the gate, floated her to the front. The half was easy, the 3/4 was easy. And that was globetrotting. I was so happy last night to watch her finish off her mile strong. You know, I don't know a lot of the horses that were in this race. I know it was a kind of watered down field, but you know, speaking to Ronnie Burke, it's so good to have an opportunity to talk to him once in a while because he's so busy. It's not like I can just shoot him a text. I don't know if he's ever responded to a text of mine in months. And it's not that he's an ignorant man. He's not. He's just so busy. My text would be drowned out by plenty of them. And to race at every track and race so many horses every day, it's just great to actually run into him and talk to him about the mare. You know, and he was so optimistic about her. He has no reason to be. If I said, hey, Ronnie, you're doing a shitty job, I'm taking that mare, he'd be like, yeah, whatever. You know, what do I care? Take your mare. You know, and for him to take the time to talk to me about globetrotting when he has so many horses to talk about, it's cool. It's uplifting, even for me. And it's what I do for a living. So I was really pumped over the last few weeks. So happy she raced good. And then we watched a little Red Machine race. Resolute Bay. You guys could see what happened, right? He knuckled over just at the 3/8 and made a break, and then showed a little gumption also, come back trotting and ended up a good third. Those are things that physically immature horses do, right? Now we can probably baycock them. I don't know if it helps, but a lot of the times you have horses knuckling over in the mile, especially in a race, weak stifles, and you know, generally the way we treat them in harness racing now, right or not, you know, baycocks and blister those stifles, whether internally or externally. He's made the final, I believe, of I said to somebody the other day, the final was like 30,000. It's half that, it's 15. I don't know if that's added or whether it's just 15, but you know, he's one of the best horses, I think, in that division. So all about racing the horse in the right position. I had a great call this week from a client, St. Anthony. I told you guys this in the opening. Why are we racing Tioga Sunshine in this race that goes for nothing? It's all about experience at this point, right? You guys are not going to buy any yachts or new houses with the amount of money Tioga Sunshine is going to race for or make, right? You know that. And it was funny, I got an email from Jeff Burrell the other day saying, I don't know how good the horse this year was that we're in with her, but I'll take it. So it's just about experience and setting her up for next year, right? We hope that she'll mature physically and mentally, you know, both through growth and training back. We will again give her the tools to become a good horse, and it will be up to her to decide whether she wants to be. It's up to us right now to in the middle of the year to be able to switch past and say, this horse needs to race here to do well, right? You don't think we wanted to go to Sarnia with one horse, ship 3 hours down the road with only Sweet Ambitions in the back of the trailer to race for what, 5,000? Something like that, maybe less. But it wasn't what we raced for, it's what we got, right? And it's what it meant to her. For her to go and win a race, you know, again, not a super gifted animal, but a horse that can do good. You just have to race her where she needs to be. So, very happy across the board yesterday. Yeah, the break by Resolute Bay sucked. You know, he was a winner, 1-5 on the front, nobody around. He was a winner, but he showed some resolve himself to bounce back, finish third, and race good. We got one race left for him, I believe, which would be the final of the Prospect Series coming up at Grand River, probably near closing night, September 24th. Getting close to closing night for Grand River. It's in, yeah, but Grand River usually close to it, I think. So it's in 12 days. So a fantastic day for me. One as the manager of the stable, somebody who's your partner on globetrotting, Sweet Ambitions, and possibly Resolute Bay also. A great day in that regard, and a fantastic day for the McDonald family, both for Oliver in the back. Big games from him. I think collectively as a team maybe booted it around a little bit the last game, but the first game I watched him play, he was incredible, and the whole team played great, so good for those kids. And just a great day, as I said, for the McDonald family. James had another great night. Mark had another great night. I got to talk to some of the management of Woodbine Mohawk Park afterwards, and I got to speak to Trevor Henry and congratulate him. Just a great drive and a great horse. Desperate Man. I was telling Amy that the story behind that horse, John Gene and Kathy, never really had great horses. Had okay horses, raced around Clinton, Hanover, Grand River, the odd horse here and there at Mohawk, but nothing tremendous. And they went to the Lexington sale. They only had $20,000 to spend on one horse. One horse. They went there. Desperate Man went for exactly $20,000. Now, Paul Davies is a young kid that got his license, drove a little bit at Grand River, Kawartha, places like that. Then he went out west. I believe he raced at, I don't want to say which track he raced at, out in Alberta or BC. I'm not sure which. Did okay, come back home, and he married John and Kathy's daughter. John and Kathy gave them half of that horse. So John, Gene, and Kathy never had a good horse before for the most part. Not that I can remember. Maybe they did and I missed it. But the nicest people you ever want to run into or talk to, just go back. Do yourself a favor. Go back and watch the interview in the winner's circle of Desperate Man, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Just super nice people. For them to win the North American Cup was one of the best storylines of the year for this entire industry. You had all those big trainers with their horses in there, and here's the littlest guy with the one horse they broke and trained down, gave half of it to their son-in-law and daughter, for maybe as a wedding gift, I don't know. Owned this horse together. It won the North American Cup. So happy for them and happy for everybody. Just a great night. It couldn't have turned out any better the entire night, even at the end. But just so happy today. So heading to Woodstock, gonna watch Ollie, my boy, play baseball. Maybe the rain will hold off. It doesn't look like it. It did get brighter. It doesn't. Who knows? Just hope. It was Cleveland. Who knows? Could have been a tornado last night and 48 degrees today. So just hope. So anyway, I thought I'd give you guys a little video of the timeline I went through. Obviously, we went to Yonkers Friday. Oh, big news. Mark Beckwith called me yesterday afternoon, said Baumhager's white count was very high. Her AST was a little elevated and she was a little dehydrated. Now, the dehydration in their blood level can easily be from the ship to Yonkers, the race, the ship back, draw the blood the next day. So the dehydration may not be as extreme as the blood would let on, but that white count was. For those of you, again, I'll say this a lot, but in no disrespect meant, for those of you that are horsemen out there, 13.3 was her white count the day after the race. Exceedingly high. As I said to you guys, I wasn't going to jump to any conclusions. Now, does that change anything for Baumhager? Possibly. No guarantees yet. Mark Beckwith had called me during the game, Ollie's game. We talked for 10 minutes. I said, Mark, you're taking care of her right now. You have a job to do. You have to get her white count down. You have to get her healthy. Make sure she carries her weight. She doesn't come off her feed. And she's happy. At that point, a day or two before we would have to enter at Freehold, you tell me, is she ready to go? You tell me. So Mark Beckwith has been charged with, obviously, making sure that the filly is in the right course. He knows everything at play. It's not like he's saying, I want to get her to Freehold so we can race for some money and and maybe I'll get some from my pocket. That's not him. This guy will take care of Baumhager best he can. And I told him, if we pull the shoes off her and she's done for the season, I'm sure no one in the group will complain. Not a human being. So don't feel an iota of pressure, not an ounce of pressure to say, we'll go. Don't do that. You do what Baumhager's ready to do. To me, she felt tired. It could have easily, this affiliate's got 6 starts and trained great 6 days out. I can only tell you how she felt in the race. I can't tell you why she felt that way. So if it was her white count, it was her AST, it was a touch of dehydration, and all 3 things combined to make her look like she was exhausted, when it's the end of the year, she's probably getting tired, but that wasn't Baumhager the other night. So it would be easy to convince me that it was what exactly Mark Beckwith said it was. So we're going to treat her up and get her ready. A lot of storylines, a lot of paths will be decided this week also. Unbeatable Kemp, how he races at Northfield Park will decide. Do we go back to Kentucky? Because he is sitting 12th to 13th. He very likely could draw into the consolation, or the Commonwealth final. Do we take him? Monday will tell the tale of that. When it comes to Blue Bayou deal. She's obviously going to Kentucky. We'll train her up this week, take her to Kentucky. She's going to miss the first leg at Freehold, but make the second leg at Freehold. So it's important. One, we're going to get a good look at who's at Freehold, if there's any killers or not. Secondly, we are going to get a real good look at how tough they are, how many divisions they are, and what we have to do to make the final off one leg. So, Blue Bayou deal, that'll be decided this week. We had the sales coming up, all the sales. I see you had the online London book. I put it on our bed. Amy and I will go over that today, leaf through that. And as I said to you guys, keep the emails coming. I know there's been a lot of people, and it's a long weekend. You guys are not a long weekend, but it's a long weekend for me, a long weekend. You guys haven't really got a chance to watch these videos yet. It is vitally important that we start putting together. Everybody emailed me when we put the Ohio partnership together. What about Ontario? What about Ontario? What about Ontario? Well, now you know. We put together Ontario. We put together we put together the Ontario partnership. It's there, the partnerships. They're there. The one complaint about the Ohio partnership was it was expensive and some people couldn't afford it. I fixed that. We made 3 buckets. Now I get some people saying, well, who's going to pick the horses at Gwin? You know I am. I'm going to pick them. But the ability to move your shares should be the ability to trade, sell, buy, however you want to do on the private market. So acquiring all the horses you want should be an availability. What I don't want to do is say, okay, for the 3 days after the Ontario sales, we're going to lock those shares so that the people that are buying into those buckets have first choice into the rest of the shares. I don't want to do that. But if you force my hand, I will. When it comes to the partnerships, I would like to fill them up. You guys are out there. You know who you are. You know whether you want to be involved in Ontario or not. We're going to do the best job. The horses we buy are not dependent on the buckets. So whether we had the buckets or not, whether we had the partnerships or not, I would still buy the same horses, the exact same ones. And I was intrigued also, thank you all very much for the email about, hey Anthony, what about a higher end horse? Surely if you buy a horse like Century Invictus, he can't take up the entire $70,000 bucket. I don't think that's kind of what you're after. So if we were to buy something a little more pricey, how do we piece that out? Well, that's a perfect question, and I appreciate the emails that come in about that. I hadn't thought that much about it, but again, very smart. This is why it's important to have. Oh, this one says go straight, honey. Yeah, you go around the corner. Yeah.
You go down there, turn right.
Oh, see, I go down here and turn left. That's how it told me to go. You can go this way. I'm sorry, I don't live in Woodstock. We're gonna be there in 1 minute. So what I'd like to do is hear from you if you'd like to be involved in a group, whether it be Ontario, whether it be Lexington, Harrisburg, or even Ohio. If we happen to buy something that's a little more pricey and you'd like to have, I don't know what you're saying, but you're pretty loud. A bus, yeah. Take your sucky out. I can't hear you talk. Then let me know. Let me know. Hey Anthony, you know we were involved with 2 bus, yeah. We were involved with 3 Point. We were involved with Century Invictus or something like that. We would also like to be involved with. We would also like to be involved if you happen to get something like that this year. Drop me a line. I'll put your name on a list. And if we do buy a horse like that, you will get first choice, and you will get your opportunity to say, okay, I'll take X amount of shares. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much again for that. I hadn't really given it much thought. Been busy. Again, transitioning and trying to figure out exactly what makes sense and how to make these partnerships work. I believe we put together a great model. It looks fantastic, and I'm really, really excited to see how it is going to play out in the coming weeks and months. So I will talk to you all very soon. As I said, a great weekend thus far. Wish Ollie good luck. It's down here.
Are you ready, Ollie? You're late.
Yeah, he's okay. Wish Ollie good luck. Well, I guess it'll be over by the time you see it. But super excited to see how that is going to turn out. So good luck, Ollie. We'll talk to you all very, very soon.